Hey guys, welcome to Bird Dog to Intern. My name is Pete Asmus and I'm here with Ivan Oberon. Today is October 1st, 2013, and I am excited. How about you, Ivan?
Man, that's crazy. I can't believe it's the 1st of October already.
Can you,
Like,
like, honestly, for real, do you remember, like, a year ago, we were talking about what we're doing right now? How
yeah,
crazy is that? I mean, that to
it's
me,
crazy how time
honestly, that's
flies. And I just went and picked up the girls from school, and there's already houses up with like Halloween decorations, and they were telling me, "Oh man, how far away is Halloween? How far away is Halloween?" And it's only 30 days away.
Yeah, well, Christmas is only 90 or something like that, but I'm telling you right now, that's going to be here in 2 seconds. So, um, let's talk a little bit. You started kind of telling Mike about, and we've got more people on now. I knew that would help out. We've got some people on. You were telling Mike a little bit about some of the people that you talked to earlier today. So, do you mind re going over that? And
Sure.
what I want to encourage anybody on this to do is realize that we are we are freehanding everything that we are doing, guys. We don't have any scripts in front of us. We don't have anything pre-planned to say. Like literally, it could be anything. So here's what you could do to take advantage of this to the best of your ability. What you guys can do is start asking questions. Get involved. Don't sit on the sidelines and wait to hear something right. Try and engage with us. Ask
Right.
questions, and then let us help you. Because I'm telling you right now, the only way that we can really help is to know what the issues are. So we're going to go ahead and pretend like we kind of understand what some of your issues are, and we're going to go through some things that we're doing and explain to you kind of what our challenges are. But I really want to implore you guys to reach out and ask some questions that are your challenges because they're definitely going to be different than ours so we can help you. We are
Yeah,
here to
don't
help
don't
you.
let this don't let this be some other webinar that you just kind of play in the background, you tune out, and hopefully you get something out of it. Just engage and get something out of this. So that way everybody makes the most out of their time here.
Absolutely. Is that it? Now, does everybody agree with that? Is everybody okay with that? All right, perfect. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. And then I'm assuming Brett and Fred and everybody else can jump in and say okay to that too. So I definitely pay attention to who's on. So let's go ahead and start then, Ivan.
Sure.
And let's start getting him some meat on this bone here. So what happened?
Well, what I was saying earlier is that there's a process that we follow. So the first things are first. First thing we got to do is find a seller lead, because if we don't have that seller lead, we don't have a property to go after. We don't have something to market. And once you have the property to market, that's when you start generating your buyer leads, because you essentially have the bait on the hook to draw people in.
Now we
So
talk about this real quick. We talk about this before. Somebody on here, this is their first time listening, and they're like, "All right, fantastic, Ivan, but where do I find these leads?" So, real quick, can you just, I mean, real quick, go into where do we find our leads? Who are we looking for?
Well, the majority of the leads are coming from Craigslist,
Okay.
from fsbo.com, which is for sale by owner. There's going to be some that we have brought to us by realtor contacts.
Well, wait, we're
There
gonna.
are,
That's you're talking part of the of our radio show from yesterday. Just focus on the Craigslist right now.
well, you told me where we're finding the leads, and this is
I
where they're coming
know,
from.
I
So
know.
don't
I'm
ask me a
just
question
saying.
if you don't want me to answer it.
Well, I want you to partially answer it.
All right, so the majority of the places are Craigslist and fsbo.com.
Okay.
So that's going to be where your bread and butter comes from. And once that lead comes in, then essentially we have to call that lead, follow up with them, and see what it is that what they're thinking, and see if they are actually going to line up well with the program that we're presenting, which is essentially a contract for deed or installment sales contract. Is not a
Agreement.
typical lease option agreement, even though we oftentimes refer to it as rent to own, simply because that's what people are familiar with. And sometimes you have to use terminology that people are familiar with, just so they're open to what it is that you're going to say, and then you can explain everything else. But
Okay.
once we have those leads and we start making those calls, the first thing, of course, is to qualify the seller so you don't spend too much time on the phone with them, if they're not interested in selling, which happens sometimes. Sometimes they just respond for the sake of responding, and then you get them on the phone, and then you say, "Hey, I see your property's, for rent, or maybe it's for sale. Are you open to a rent to own type of situation, or financing situation? And sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say, well, no, not really. They don't really want to sell, or I only want to sell conventionally, or whatever. And then it's fine, and then you don't waste your time moving forward. But once you
Okay.
capture that lead and they agree to move forward with the transaction, then you essentially get the property under contract and you start marketing it, and that's when your buyer leads begin to come in. And because you have the property to market, and like we said before, you have the bait to bring those things in, and those buyers leads are very crucial, because even though the buyer may not work out specifically for that one contract, that one property that you have under contract, you may be able to find, get them rolled into the program and find them a different house uh, that will fit their needs. So what I was saying earlier was that that's what we were doing today, was actually calling some buyer leads instead of seller leads. And you go through the qualification process with them again, and sometimes they'll, in order for them to qualify, quote unquote qualify, to move forward, is just some very, very basic criteria. Do they, what are they looking, when are they looking to move? What kind of payment are they looking for? Do they have a down payment set aside? And if they do, well, how much, what are they working with? Is it liquid and available now? And where are the funds presently? And if those things don't line up, then essentially you don't have somebody that can really move forward with the program, and there's some things that they may have to work with. So, but again, it's a sales process. So then you have to sell the buyer on either the program or what it is that you're doing, and sometimes people will still just want to waste your time. Like the lady that we were talking about just a minute ago, she had about 30,000. She said she had down, but she was also a realtor. For some reason, responded to an ad, and when we get her on the phone, and she's just like, oh well, I can pretty much do what you're doing, and get it done myself. So it's like, okay, well,
Wow.
power to you. Like, why did you even respond
Yeah.
to, because I beg to differ. You can't do exactly what we're doing. You might have some connections, and you have access to whatever title
Right.
searches and MLS and those sorts of things, but you know you don't have access to our program or our database of buyers. So it's again, it's a process, and what we want you guys to understand is that we understand that you're going to do a lot of work to generate these leads. The good thing is that it's not going to cost you any money. It's going to cost you time, but understand that we're married to these people. Once we get a transaction done, we're married to these people for 2 years, sometimes longer. And there's a lot of servicing that's involved. They have to sign up for the credit restoration qualification process. They have to sometimes their funds are 401ks, so we have to facilitate all that. So at least you guys can just bring us the lead, get paid for the lead once the transaction is actually successful, and you don't have to deal with all that stuff, which is literally countless of hours on the back end. So don't get discouraged when you think you're working, putting in so many hours to just find the leads, because there's still a lot to be done afterwards, and that's part of the learning process that you'll go through. But you have us to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
Does that make
Um,
sense?
yeah, that does. And in fact, I know that I sound a little distracted. Do you have do you have the Google phone number that we use for doing bird dogging or anything else? Like,
Well, I don't use a Google phone number currently, and we were doing it for the wholesale program, but that was your number, so I'm not sure what that is.
okay, so you're using just your real number when you're sending these out, then yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Typically, it's an email or text, so yeah, it's I use
Well,
my
here,
number.
the reason I'm saying that, you can see my screen now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was going to do is I was going to put the number here. I can always put the 888 570 7464 right there. And what I wanted to, I've heard so many times on our bird dog calls, people are like, "Well, what are you actually sending out?" And they just want to see it. So I thought, what would we were talking about what to do? I just thought, why not actually do this and show people what it is, like live? That wouldn't be very difficult, right?
Sure.
Okay, do you want to do it or would you prefer me to do it? I don't care.
Oh, you mean as far as you can have me share the screen?
Yeah, I can have
Let
you
me
share the
see.
screen and do it, or I can do it just like this. But while you're figuring out if getting your deal ready so I can flip it over to you, I'll talk about this real fast. Guys, this is the TMT that we were talking about. All right. All I did was basically went, oop, come on, where'd it go? We'll go here. I went to the 10-minute task, all right, which you can get off of Vincent's site, the little link for it, and I just copied the link right here, and then I basically highlighted everything and copied it onto a Word document so that I can edit and work with it easier than that. Obviously, put in my name, and I mean it's as simple as this, as going like that. All right, this is already. I'm using my hands. You guys can't see my hands. This is already written for you. Okay, so all you've got to do is copy it, and then you're just gonna jump back on. Are you there?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and it's basically you have two scripts. You have a text message script where you essentially just text the number that's on the ad, and you have an email script for the ones that don't have um, the sorry, that don't have a phone number.
all right, I threw
Yeah,
it to you.
you already have everything pulled up, so why don't you just go ahead
Okay,
and go through it, and then I can just help you talk about it.
you got it. We'll do that then. Um, Show my screen. Okay, so here we have the Craigslist, right, which is our initial part. Now, what do I do from here, Ivan?
So from there, you basically go to apartments, housing on the
Up
top, and
here.
housing. Hmm.
Okay, and am I going to stay? What about post to Craig? Well, I don't know where I'm at. Does that matter? I'm in the Inland Empire. Does that matter?
Well,
Does it
wherever
matter
you're
where
going
I'm
to
at?
start. No, well, the main thing that you want to focus on is metro areas in any state, really. So what you want to do is look for areas that are going to have a decent population. You don't want to go into towns that have like 1,000 people in them because that's not really a metro area. But right there, you can go the whole U.S.
Right.
and go by state wherever you are. Whether
So
you want to start whether you want to start near where you're at or go anywhere else in the states, you can do that. And what I would recommend typically is that you kind of rotate the area that you're working.
So we can go
So
over
if you're
here to
working a
New York, and
particular,
I can work out of Buffalo. I can work out of Utah, Logan. See, this is awesome, and this is something that we haven't shown people before. And I think that's where they get confused, is they don't realize really what we're saying to do. And you say that, oh, I've run out of people to talk to. Seriously? Like you've gone through all of this and you've run out of people to talk to? Come on, that
hmm
didn't happen. So where do you want to go today?
yeah. Well, the main thing to consider is regardless of where you go, you'll find out real quick when you filter the results that whether or not you're in a decent area. So if you pull up an area and all the rents are like $900 a month, then you know that you're not in a
Well, let's
metro
do
area.
that.
You know that you,
Let's. Where do you want me to go? I'll tell you what.
I don't
I'm gonna
know
I'm gonna
what
act like I'm brand
one.
new and I don't know what I'm doing. So I want to go to California and I think Merced or Mendocino County. I think that's nice. All right, let's try that. So we're in Mendocino County, and I mean this is how they're gonna find out, right? You're gonna have to randomly hit
Sure,
these things to figure out what's going on. The next
right,
space I'm gonna do is go to apartments and housing right here.
correct.
Is that correct? All right. I'm going to hit apartments and housing. And that was at the top, guys. So if you're listening to the podcast and you're wondering what we're doing, we've gone on to Craigslist. In Craigslist, when you actually pop on there, if you go to the CL, you can actually hit the CL at the top left, and it'll pop you right out to the map of the entire world. Actually, then we clicked on US. From US, it brings up basically like a list of all the different states and then all the different cities within the states. And what we did was we picked Mendocino County in California. It took us basically to the Craigslist that everybody knows what that looks like. Then in the middle, under housing at the very top, we picked apartment slash housing. We've clicked on that, and that's where we are now. What's the next step,
Mhm.
Ivan? What do I do from here?
Well, what you want to do is then filter out the rent.
Okay.
So, like we were talking about before. I'll just go to the right there where it says rent, min and max,
Okay.
and then your minimum. And this is going to depend on the areas. Okay, again, so if you're in California and you really don't want to be anywhere below like $1,800 a month. I'm not really sure Mendocino what that's going to look like, but let's just say $1,700 a month is the minimum rent,
Okay.
and maybe housing type. Yeah, you can just leave that, I suppose, and just hit search, and then it'll filter back down to at least it'll cut out everything below that. You already saw some 500, 600, 700.
Right.
We don't want any of those, okay? Because that's really those are the essentially the bottom feeders, guys. Okay, no disrespect. Those are going to be your career tenants. Those aren't going to be the people that are going to be wanting to buy a home or be able to be qualified to buy a home of any kind.
Okay.
Then you start going through these listings, and you see here, you know,
Spacious. Nice.
Noyo
Nicely
Noyo
equipped.
Harbor View flat. Okay, $24 a month, one bedroom. Okay, that's not gonna be something that we really are interested in. You gotta keep in mind who the end potential buyer is gonna be, and most of these are gonna be uh, families of some kind, whether it's a small family or a large family. So certainly a one bedroom isn't gonna do it. I don't always filter through bedrooms
Okay.
because sometimes it'll narrow their results too much. Because what if they don't put how many bedrooms are on there?
Got it.
But you can just go through the listings and see, okay, so you just click on one, and again, the reason that we want to focus on the higher rents is because those are going to be higher valued houses, and you're going to attract a more qualified and better type of buyer when you market to those people. So people that are actually going to want to buy a house, you're going to have pride of ownership, and then you start kind of going through it. So this house isn't anything fancy. It's decent. It's definitely a rental investment. But the other thing that you want to look for when you go through these listings, and I don't think there's a filter feature ahead of that, but you'll notice this one is listed by a realtor or a brokerage. So when possible, you would prefer to avoid those things being marketed by a realtor, simply because realtors by and large are going to be deal killers. Okay, they're not your deal
And
makers. They're not the ultimate decision makers, and you got to talk to the actual owner of the property. Occasionally you get a realtor that is willing to work with you and understands the system, and it's understands that there can be a win-win situation for you, but by and large, uh, you want to stay away from properties that are listed by a realtor. You can always shoot out the email. It doesn't take you more than about 2 seconds to shoot it out, and see what kind of response you get.
okay, so real quick, just to let everybody know where that was on the bottom of the email. It said, for additional information or to schedule a viewing, please reply to this ad or contact Realty World. Oh, I almost said seizure. That's Seltzer Realty. I don't know, something like that. And then it has their code or their broker number,
yeah, their license number.
right? License number, and then their phone number. So I just want everybody to understand that it isn't just right in the title that says, "Hey, this is a broker property." That's not what it is.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta look
actually
at
gotta you actually gotta read through the ad and just
yeah.
spend 30 seconds reading the ad and seeing what it is. This one, who knows, is not a very fancy ad. You might just reply to this one, Pete, and just
Okay. So how
see
do
what
we do
happens.
that?
Copy paste.
How am I going to do? I hit
Go to the
reply
top
up
of the
here,
go to the pot. Yep.
right?
Hit reply.
Okay. So up at the top, there's a reply. Wait, use default email, Craigslist. Use.
Then you gotta reply with your email. So you select Yahoo. No. Go back.
Okay.
You select your email. Okay. So you're gonna reply with Gmail, Yahoo Mail, Hotmail. So you're gonna reply with Gmail, since I know you have a Gmail account.
Yeah, that was weird though. Why couldn't I just do it the other way?
Because it copied the Craigslist email, not yours.
Okay. So then I'm going to put in here, and then I'm going to paste in my pre-written deal, right?
Right,
Just like that.
right, and then yes,
And then I just hit send.
and then the nice thing is that it attaches the link to the actual Craigslist ad at the bottom, and then it gives the automatically pre-fills a description of what it is that you're responding to. So when that email comes through, they know that it's somebody contacting them about the property that they have listed. And then when they reply, all that information will be in the email as well, which is easy for you to follow up with. Or when you forward the link over to us or to me to look at, then I know exactly what the correspondence was, and I know
Ah,
exactly what
and we
the
put the link on the bottom so you know what the house is too.
what the original ad is, so I can look at it and see what we're dealing with.
And then I just hit send,
And then you hit send,
and that's it.
and that's it. And then you do it over and over and over, and then you
Well,
wait for
that's
the
not
replies.
hard. I mean, we keep telling everybody that this is simple. That's why I wanted to do this on here. I wanted to show everybody that, look, this doesn't take 5 years to do. This is easy. It just takes some time.
Right.
Now, if we go through, here's another one. Let's try and find an expensive one here.
Well, just start at the top. Just start at the top. Okay,
Okay.
this is what I would tell people. Stay a little bit organized.
Okay.
Okay, start at the top of the page and start going down, because as you click on those, then when you come back, the cool thing about Craigslist too is that, and look, this one's listed by the same realty people.
Yeah, I think you're crazy. I think I could totally do it just like this. And
I
then,
was going to use your default, whatever you have set as your default.
yeah, and then we just boom, send, and I'm good. So this is easy. I mean, this is seriously, this is not difficult at all. And then there's also the thing, that growl that Vincent had, where you could just type in the phone number over here and it just sent out text messages too. I don't have that option on my computer though.
Right? Yeah. No, he's got a bunch of fancy stuff.
Yes, he does. Okay, so I've got a few questions. Mike, you're saying, should we CC um, when we get people calling us and ask us a list of questions? What do we do? When do we send them to you? When we get people calling us, we ask a list of questions.
Well, if you get people responding to a text message, or if you get somebody calling and obviously it's not a number that you recognize, and you let it go to voicemail, then what some people do is they do use the Google Voice number, and then they forward me the actual Google voicemail along with the original listing
I
that it
think that's a great
pertains to.
idea. I think that's what we
Okay,
need to do. You guys need to
yeah.
get a, yeah. Go ahead.
So either set that up, or if you get a different voicemail, then just respond in the email with the original ad saying, hey, they respond to this ad, and this is this is the voicemail they left me. This is their name, their number, and what they said. That way, I when I call, I know how to say, hey, this is you were in communication with my partner Mike, and regarding the property such and such on Craigslist, and I understand you may be interested in blah blah blah, and then that gives a warmer lead into the conversation. So you can do it that way, either through Google Voice, or if for whatever reason can't, or you're maxed out or whatever it is, then just forward the information that you got on your voicemail. Until we start going through some of these and you start getting a little bit more comfortable, at least fielding the preliminary call and say, you know what, I'm going to have my partner Ivan call you. Um, some people are scared to answer the phone, okay,
Well,
because
here's I'm
they're
I'm
not
gonna
sure
one
exactly
up
what to
what you
say.
just said, Ivan. They need to get a Google Voice, because them sending you a email saying this is what they said in the voicemail, and you didn't hear the inflection or how the person was saying it,
Sure.
that they're basically giving you less ability to be successful. And Google Voice is free. So there's really no reason they shouldn't get a Google Voice and use it. It doesn't cost them any money, and it's only going to help them and help us to close more deals for them. So, period, they need to get a Google Voice and send you the voicemail if they call and respond with a voicemail. They need to send you the voicemail. If they call and respond with an email, they forward you the email. Now, Ivan, where do they send those deals to? If they want to get a hold of you with a deal, not with a question, but with a deal, what do they do? Hello? Did I lose him? Ivan? Maybe. Um, Ivan's offline. All right. Well, so I will answer that question then for him. You guys can all hear me, right? I just want to make sure that that I'm being heard here. Where's my audio? Audio's up. Okay. Yeah, you guys should be able to hear me. Um, so the email that you're going to send your deals to when you guys get deals is going to be mydeal@c2creia.com. All right. My deal at ria.com. If you guys have a question about, hey, this is going on, what do I do? My deal is for deals, not for questions. The questions, you can ask questions to Ivan at c2creia.com or Pete at c2creia.com. All right. Um, and when you send your questions, realize make them short. Don't write us a book and ask questions, because the chances of us answering, I mean, let me tell you, first off, if I open up an email and I see 15, you know, 15 pages that I'm going to have to sift through to read, I'm probably not going to be looking through all of your questions. I mean, that's nuts. I've got so much stuff going on. Think about if you responded or opened up an email like that, right? So what we want is we want something that's short. Think, 1-2 lines, questions that you've got going on. If it's a bigger deal, something that we're working on, then, hey guys, I need a phone call. When would be a convenient time? I have a question about a deal. Let's schedule a time, right? Don't ask a 20-minute question in an email. That's nuts. And you're never going to get it answered. Then you're going to get frustrated because you're going to feel like nobody's paying attention to you, because nobody is, because the amount of effort that you're requiring right off the bat is so extraordinary that we don't even know what we're getting into. So make it simplified, make it something that's easy. Look, I've got a question about this, whatever. How do I get started? What areas? Those are easy questions that we can say, look, you need to go like this, or we can point you in a direction. If you guys have not listened to Bird Dog to Intern number 6 or number 7, you guys need to go back and listen to those. Those are good. Number 6 is where Ivan and I started doing them together, and it's really kind of where we started growing this program. That's when we changed the name from National Wholesaling to Bird Dogging to Intern, because we realized that it was too broad. And being a wholesaler, there's so many different ways to wholesale. I mean, some people are professional wholesalers. They make $100,000 a month just off of wholesaling. And then some people, they're just wholesaling so they can get into rehabbing and doing other things. And because we understand that there's so many different variables and ways for you to go, we wanted to create some stepping stones for you guys to get off, to jump off of, right? One of them is the Bird Dog program, so that there was you don't have to pay any money, nothing. You don't give us a dollar. Don't All you have to do is input your time, your time. All right. You've got to say what's going on. You've got to put out the time to do what I just did. Right. We all just watch that. It's not difficult. It's easy. It just takes time. All you have to do is repeat what I just did, and you're going to be fine. If you did that for an hour every day for the next year, you would be making money, period. There would be no way for you not to make money. But everybody wants us to, okay, well, if I do it for 5 hours right now, will I get a deal? Well, probably not. It's going to take some time. You've got to build contacts. You've got to build relationships. But right now, if you don't have them, then why wouldn't you want to start building them now? What are you doing right now for an hour every day that's going to anywhere remotely provide you with the opportunities that doing real estate could? Because here's the thing, guys, if you guys start doing bird dogging with us, you're going to end up making money and you're going to like it. And then you're going to go, well, how do I do more? And then you're going to come into the intern program. And then you'll have bird dogs and you'll have people going off and getting that part for you, right? You've got to learn how to do things by doing them. You can't jump up and just start becoming a real estate investor. It's crazy when people go, I'm going to go away for 3 days and I'm going to learn how to do everything. You're not. You're going to learn how to do some things. And where people really got hit was the fact that most of the time when people would get involved, they would oh my gosh, now I just lost where I was.
Sorry.
They were what were we talking about, Mike? I know you're listening to what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. The I'm sorry, I just need a kickstart of what I was saying. Um One of you guys should have been on there. That anybody? Training, and then you will move up. Oh, the so what we wanted to do with these steps was provide handholding to some degree. So we put together a boot camp or a training or whatever the hell you want to call it, but thinking to succeed with massive action. And the reason we started with that one, and I mean, we have our ALF one, we have our rehab tour that we're putting on in KC that's going to be coming up. But the reason I like the thinking to succeed with massive action so much is because at the end of the day, the reason people aren't successful is because they just don't start doing something. They keep holding back. Keep trying to make everything right. And look, it's never gonna be all right. It's never gonna be perfect. It never will be. So the reality is what are you gonna do to create your future now? And bird dogging, it's something that you can put in for an hour a day doing exactly what I just did, and you don't have to know anything else. As soon as you get somebody that says, well, tell me more, you send it out to Ivan. As soon as you get somebody that says, well, what about this? You send it out to Ivan. And then you say, hey, can I be on the phone call when you call if it's convenient, whatever. And then when you get to the point where you're like, look, Ivan, I want to do more. I want to be an intern as well. Then we pull you into where you're on every phone call with Ivan. Why? Because we've got to show you how to do what he's doing so that you can start doing it with us as well. Because what we really want is Ivan and I want to build a team of probably 40 interns, 50 interns that all have like 10 to 20 bird dogs below them that they're helping, and we're creating opportunities for everybody. Everybody's benefiting. But look, we realize that you've got to
Well,
go through it to get there. Go ahead, man.
and let me just say that every phone call is completely unrealistic. So don't set your expectations there. But the point here is definitely you got to commit. So you commit first. You figure everything else out along the way. You don't have to know how the process is going to work. All you got to do is be committed to the process. So you commit, and once you're committed, everything else kind of starts falling into place because you start taking the proper actions to get you down the road.
Well, it's just like we're going to KC, and we've got a couple of opportunities out there, and a lot of what we have going on, like Ivan and I, our company's funds are tied up in some other projects right now, but we've got some opportunities, and we're like, man, we're gonna have to scramble to put something together. And then today, I get an email or I get a phone call from one of our investors that goes, hey, man, I just sold another one of my houses. I'm ready to go. Let me get a hold of when can I get a hold of Ivan so that I can show him what I have so that we can do a deal. And it's like, hold on. And I hung up and I called Ivan immediately and I'm like, bro, when we go to KC, we've got somebody else that wants to do something with us. So we're putting together
Right.
opportunities all the time.
Well, the point here too is that I committed to making that happen in KC regardless. I didn't have to know that I had money lined up. I knew that I would get more money because I've already raised almost $2 million. So I knew getting more is not going to be that big a deal. Just commit to setting up the program and the systems and the opportunities for people and do it right, and everything else will fall into place.
Well, that was
But
a
I
much
committed
better way
first
to word
before I was going to figure everything else out.
that. Well, you know what's funny is there I remember certain things that people say, and I'm sure that sometimes people, when we say things in passing, right? We say things that impact other people, and it could be something that we're just throwing off, like when Ben said to me when we were talking about the board game, when we were talking about home vesting, and I said, look, I love the concept behind what it is, and if we don't do this, I will create another game. I'm going to do this. This is what I want to do. It goes along the same path. And he said, well, I get what you're saying, but if you're talking about that, then what aren't you talking about? And I think for the first time, I realized what people mean when they say, look, when you say yes to one thing, remember and think about what you're saying no to, right? Because you can't say yes to everything. You can't say no to everything. Um, and so at the
Well,
same
yeah,
time,
and here's
I,
the thing.
well, hold on. Don't let
Let
me,
me
don't
add
let
to
me
that
forget
real
my
quick if I
thought.
can.
I almost,
Okay.
at the same time, I remember when you told me when we were on the plane and you're like, I want to get here. And I'm like, man, how in the world are we going to do, like, just because of the resources we have, like that doesn't, God, what are you moving? I was like, that doesn't even make sense. And you go, don't worry about the how, just focus on the why, focus on the why. And I was like, all right, well, whatever, I'll focus on the why. I know why I want to do it. And then it's like magic happens, man. I don't even, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Go ahead,
Right,
man.
right. Because if you focus on the how, then all you're going to do is create every single scenario of why it's not going to work.
Oh my gosh,
Why
that's
you
absolutely right.
why you can't do it, why it's going to fail, and then you got to maybe tell somebody else about it, and they're going to reinforce all your defeatist thinking for you. So you don't focus on that. You have to focus on the why. You have to focus on the target of where you want to go, not the steps to get there. Because as long as you have your focus on the target, all those steps will kind of create themselves along the way. And to kind of go back to what you said as far as like you have to understand what you're saying yes to or what you're saying no to. What I would recommend at first is say yes to everything. Okay, say yes to everything. You need more opportunities. You need better, bigger problems to solve. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is to say yes to everything that you can. Every opportunity that comes your way, just say yes until your only option is then to say no. But use that as your, put that in your toolbox to use later. But in the beginning, too many people just say no to too many things is the problem. I don't have time for this. I got to sleep
Yeah.
in. I got this football game I got to watch, or I got this blah 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 blah. Like, because and they use those as excuses to say no. So that's really what I'm trying to get at is you have all this stuff that is not going to get you to where you want to be. So you have to start saying yes to more stuff that will get you to where you want to be, and no to more stuff that's not going to get you there. The TV, the football game, the basketball game, the whatever it is, that's not generating income and getting you to where you want to be. Say no to that stuff. Say yes to just as much as everything else as you can.
Guys, is this making sense for you? I know we've got 10, 15 people on here now. Do you guys, any of you that are listening right now, if you have questions, please let us know. But at the same time, I'd like to get a yes from everybody, at least that you guys know what we're saying and that we're not boring the hell out of you. Is this interesting to you? Is it important to you? Is it answering some of the questions that you guys had? Um, and I know that there's more on here besides just besides just Mike. So Fred, Jenny, Brett, John, Kathy, Sean, Ralph, any of you guys, if any of you guys, can you just say what's going on? Yeah, I understand. Yes, this is helpful. No, this isn't helpful. Um, you know, we're almost close to when we'll probably wrap up here now, but we want to know what would inspire you guys to come back. Like what is it that you guys need more of? What kind of help? Because this is the same thing that we did kind of with our live events where we moved them all to Wednesday nights and they're free and you come and you have dinner with us so that we could figure out what you want to learn so that we can have a Saturday, once a month where we do a Saturday event where we can have a 3 or 4 hour training because otherwise we're just coming up with things that we think are cool. And as much as I like to talk about what I like to talk about, I also want to, I want to help and answer questions you guys have. All of you guys are different. You have different problems, different issues, different challenges than Ivan or I do. And so I'm good at solving problems. I'm really, really good at it. For me, I feel like I have my brain is like a Rubik's cube, and I'm always like turning it and looking at it from different angles, that problem, so that I can spin it and fix it. So I love helping. Fred, thank you very much. It does work. Um, and Fred said yes, it even works, and he's referring. I'm assuming he's referring to the 10-minute task, and it does. I mean, we did this live with Vincent once, and while we were on the event or while we were doing the thing, we were getting people responding back saying, tell me more, or no, they weren't interested or whatever.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and Fred sent me several leads already.
oh, nice, very cool. Well, I had no idea. So what, Fred, let me ask you this, Fred. How many leads have you sent in and how often are you doing this? Are you working on it an hour a day, 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes, 2 hours? Like if you had to average it out, how long are you actually spending doing the actual 10-minute task, and how many of you sent in? And then I would challenge, I don't know if Brett or Jenny or any of the other guys on here are part of your bird dogs that are sending us stuff right now too. But if you weren't, and here's why I think that's important, because inevitably, if you don't get a deal within the first 3 to 4 weeks that we've got executed, you're going to become frustrated and could veer off. And so my question to you is going to be, Well, why is that going to happen? Well, it's going to happen because they're not getting any results. And so I want to ensure that, hey, anybody that's working with us wants to keep working with us. So how do we, what can we do, Ivan, that can get them better results? What advice or tips? I think one thing is doing it every day. I mean, period. Like a minimum of an hour. I think you could watch this.
Consistency.
Yeah. Consistency. That's a great
Yeah,
one.
consistency. And I mean, Fred hasn't been doing it for very long, and quite honestly, he hasn't sent me like a tremendous amount of leads. But out of the leads that he has sent me, we had two people that we submitted for contract, and one of them executed it, and we're marketing the property,
Oh my
and
gosh,
the
up
other
top.
one, yeah, yeah, and the other one, um, is we're still dealing with him. He owns a property with in a corporation, and he's got partners that we're having to talk to, and he's got a nightmare tenant in the house that he's still working through, and all these different things. So there are some issues that we're dealing with, um, because it's not super easy, guys. Okay, it's to get a thing closed, but it is possible, and it does happen on a regular basis. So consistency really is the key. That's the only thing that I can say to you, and don't get discouraged, because that's, you do it for a little while, and then another problem people have is they get an email from me saying, hey, great job, we're going to submit this one, for contract, and get it executed and so forth, and then all of a sudden they just stop working, and they quit filling the pipeline because they think, okay, well, I got this deal now, and there's no guarantees, okay, because we're marketing the property, but what if all of a sudden they sell the property? What if all of a sudden they put a tenant in the property, and 2 weeks later? Like, you can't stop filling that pipeline, otherwise you're not going to go anywhere.
Absolutely. And the thing is we want to grow with them. We want them to get better. So I think that consistency, it's the key to the whole thing. And I think that you have to set real expectations. And if you can't carve out an hour, then you need to like literally carve out 30 minutes a day. Period. I mean, like you don't go to bed without doing this. Bottom line. I think when people start creating habits, you have to create habits like they're a life and death type of situation. Because otherwise, what happens is you put it off, put it off, put it off. And then it just never happens. You know what I mean? Ivan? Yes? Are you gone
Yeah,
again?
totally.
Oh, golly. Well,
Well, I just I mute out periodically to make sure that there's no feedback and stuff. So, but certainly, that's the case. You got to do it. You got to do it consistently. I mean, even if you don't do it all at once, I mean, just carve it out. Because honestly, if you don't get any results, then we got nobody to blame but ourselves. The other thing that I want to say, um, what was the other thing I wanted to say? Dang it, I lost the thought. I lost the thought too. But consistency. That's just going to be the main thing that I say. What I wanted to say is also keep in mind, guys, that I'm just as motivated as you guys are. Okay, because if you're not getting paid, that means I'm not getting paid. Okay, and I want to get paid, and I want you guys to get paid, because then we're doing what we say we want to do, which is help other people succeed. So it's not like I'm sitting here and you guys are whatever, and I'm blowing you guys off, or it's just really not happening, or it's even calling like, yes, okay, that's where we're all making money from this. So,
that's where
and then,
I mean, Ivan, this is what he does during the day. So just in case you guys wonder, like, what is Ivan doing during the day? He's making calls off of the leads that you guys bring in. That's
right.
I mean, there's other things, but that's like a major part of what he does every day. So I want you guys to understand that he's not just, yeah, at home playing video games going, woo, whatever. Um,
Yeah, I don't play video games.
I know you don't. Here's something.
Now, although I will be playing one because it's going to make us money. So if
Well, it's going to
when we
make
bring
everybody money.
when we roll something out for you guys, that'll be something that'll make you money, or at least give you an opportunity.
The
So other
paper
than that,
trading of
no.
real estate. Now,
I
Fred
Go
said
ahead.
something else, and I want to address this real quick. He said that he's using a Craigslist by in his area, right, to find properties. The filtering cuts it down to where he can only send out 20 inquiries every 2 days or so. Now, I'm hoping, Craig, that you've learned today or tonight how you can adjust that up. Would that be a correct statement? I mean, do you have a new way to go after what you can do of opening up these new areas? Or are you just going to stay in your your area and only do 20 inquiries every 2 days? Because here's my thing, man. If you're doing 20 inquiries every 2 days, and within the last week or so, you got three contracts or even two contracts executed and one, or I'm sorry, two contracts and one executed, then if you doubled that, you'd have two. If you tripled that, you'd have three. And I'm going to tell you that every executed contract doesn't happen either. So the more executed contracts you have, the higher probability of the sooner you will have a completed contract. I mean, what would you call
Well,
past that?
keep in mind, guys, this is virtual real estate investing. Okay, the entire United States is your backyard.
That was my
Okay,
point.
yeah, exactly. Not just where you are. So if you're limited, okay, you're only limited by your own perception and your own way of thinking. So just break out of that perception and go to different markets. Go outside. Pick a different state and hit that one up for 20 every couple of days. Hit another state, hit that one up for 20 every couple of days. Then you can start doing 60, 80, 100 a week instead of 20 every other couple of days.
Hey, did you see that Neapolitan Hill? Yeah, Neapolitan Hill. God,
Napoleon Hill?
there you go. Thank you. Him. Did you see that video that I put up on our Facebook page?
No.
Okay,
No.
so it's I saw this and it's actually him, right? It's actually Neapolitan. It's actually him uh speaking to the camera. And it's crazy just because I'd never seen him. You know what I mean? So it was kind of neat to hear his voice and everything. And he said that he's gonna, and the whole thing, he's like, I'm gonna give you the trick and the secrets of the world as soon as you're ready to accept them. And here's the first tip: is whatever the
Uh-huh.
mind can conceive, whatever the mind can believe, the mind can achieve. Well, you know how they spoke in the
That's right.
50s,
Yeah.
60s. But
And
it kills
and
me
it's
because I
amazing.
thought that was a recent thing. I can't believe that they were using that terminology
Bro,
back
Napoleon
in.
Hill wrote that in his book Think and Be Rich, Think and Grow Rich.
Well, there you go. See, that's why I just think that's an amazing. I just it cracks me up that over centuries people have been talking about. Look, you just got to believe it and you can do it. And there's still we keep getting more people, and all it does is provide more people to the left side of the board because they don't believe anything. All they do is believe that there's nothing. It's like the same thing that I said last night or the night before when on Journey to Success, people will sit there and complain about the government. They'll complain about, you know, everything with politics, but then they don't vote. You know what I mean? It's so you don't like the way it is, but you don't vote. I
Yeah, well, people just want to like complain.
Yeah, I know people like to complain. It drives me crazy. Um. Anyways, Fred, though,
So
does
anyway,
that I find properties all over the county use our sky high prices to make their listings look like bargains. I'm open to any suggestions for alternate markets. Okay, well, Fred, you heard us though talk about that already, right? So you understand the whole process of opening up all the other markets, correct? Because high prices aren't just here in California; they're also in New York. They're in well, stay away from Florida, but I mean every state has $1 million properties. California just may have a little bit more of
yeah,
them,
and,
but
and don't worry about high prices, guys. Okay, what we're really focusing on here really are properties anywhere between 300, well, really 300 to 400,000 up to like 4, 5, $10 million. Okay, we don't care about high prices. Okay, if that's what the market is going for, if that's what people are paying, if that's what properties are worth, then that's what people will pay. Okay, and you can find a buyer, and you don't want to focus again. You don't want to focus on the $150,000 homes for several reasons. Your buyers are not going to be the type of buyer that you want, and two, the paydays are also much smaller. So
yeah,
why wouldn't you focus on the right type of property, the nice properties that people actually want to buy?
absolutely. Now,
Just because, I mean, just don't get other people the idea of what they can afford. If someone's looking for $1.5 million house, it doesn't matter. And I think one of the concerns was that in LA, there's some places of LA and up in the hills and Malibu and different places. is what you would consider relatively overpriced by comparison, because you have this little 1,600 square foot ranch style home for close to $1 million.
Right.
But again, people looking to buy in that area
Understand it.
understand that that's how much houses go for. Now, somebody looking to buy, in Murrieta, or some more community, or what am I looking for here?
I don't know because you
Uh,
just said my city, so I'm waiting to hear what you have to
yeah,
say.
I know. Like a tract home, somebody looking
I
looking
do
to
not
move
live in
into.
a. Okay.
I didn't say that you did. Be quiet.
All right.
So, somebody looking to move into a more standard tract home type place where they know the properties are going from, 300, $400,000, are not going to be looking for properties in the hills of LA for $1 million. Okay, so there's going to be buyers for both areas. So don't worry about what the price says, as long as that's what the going rate is for that particular area. You can find a buyer for it, and a down payment on $1 million house is a much better payday than a down payment on a $200,000 house. Anyway,
Absolutely. And don't go look in Marietta because they're all homeless there, right?
yes,
All they
yes,
have is Cracker Jack boxes, Cracker Jack boxes, and
yeah.
old.
Pete lives out of his car.
That's it. That's out of my car. Well, it's a van, so that's cool. It's bigger. I wanted a
Yeah,
spacious
yeah.
area.
So at least there's room for the three babies.
Exactly. All right. So, Mike, you asked me a question. Why is that? I don't know what you were referring to, but please reinstate that question, Fred. Yes, New York, not Florida. Correct. Guy for financing on a ranch in Marietta, good prospect. He could be. He could be a good prospect. Absolutely.
And you guys don't have to, you don't have to stay away from Florida altogether. I mean, but
No,
no one's saying it's like the Black Plague or anything, you know.
right, and it's just Miami. It wasn't Florida altogether. It was just Miami because of the craziness that goes on there. But you've got
Yeah.
Tallahassee, you've got Orlando, Tampa. I mean, there's a ton of other areas in Florida that you can grab onto, right? People don't have the belief. Oh, what's that? People don't have the belief. Yeah, that's crazy to me too. That people don't they don't believe in what they think. Do you have a list of questions? You're saying, Mike, are you asking, do we have a list of questions that when people call back, these are the questions that we ask them? Is that what you mean? If that's what you mean, then I can email Ivan and we could probably put something together, but there's not really a list of questions. It's because every deal's different.
No. There's no list. There's no list of questions other than the pre-qualifying. Okay, the pre-qualifying,
The
it would
house,
be
square
when
footage.
somebody. No, no, no. If you let me answer the question, I can answer the question.
I
So,
will I will mute you.
no, when I call somebody off of a lead, the pre-qualifying questions are very basic, just so you don't waste your time. So, my name is Ivan Oberon. I'm calling regarding the property you have on listed on Craigslist. You were in communication with my partner Fred, and I understand that I see the property is for rent. Is it also available for sale potentially through maybe a rent to own type of scenario? Okay, that's the first qualifying question. And if they say, yeah, it's available for rent. No, 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 I'm only interested in renting it. I don't want to sell it at any time. Blah blah blah. Then the conversation ends there. If they say, yeah, yeah, I was considering it, but I'd like to know more about it. Then it's okay. Are you familiar with how that works or whatever? And then that's how you open up the conversation. But if they're not, if you can't get them past the point of them being willing to sell the house, then you have nowhere to go. They responded to the ad or to the email for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't understand what you were saying or what the script says, or maybe they just wanted to get somebody on the phone, or whatever the reason might be. You run across that sometimes where, well, I just bought the house. I had a lead sent over to me where the person replied and actually made contact, and they had just bought the property two weeks ago as a rental. And I looked at that and was like, well, that's kind of weird. Why would somebody who just bought this income property want to talk to us? But you know what? I called. I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. I called, and it didn't go anywhere. And they were like, well, I was just kind of curious. I wasn't sure what you guys were talking about, what you guys were saying. So blah blah blah. But no, we like it, and it's gonna appreciate. We want to create long-term cash flow and blah blah blah. So you're gonna get that. So you have to qualify, and that's really the only thing that you have to. Once you get past that, then you can start telling them about how program works and what we offer, and see if it works for them.
Man, that was really well worded. That you did a really good job explaining that right now. I'm
Oh, thank
impressed.
you.
Well,
It's better than what's the square footage of your house, right?
a little bit, not much. I mean, our answers were very, very similar, just so you know. But I'm going to go ahead and give you the win on this one, just
Okay,
barely, though. And
got
Mike
it.
said I won. He said you didn't even know what you were talking about. That's horrible, Mike. I can't even believe you would say that. Orlando is Ron LeGrand territory. That is correct, Fred. In fact, we're going to be talking to him actually pretty soon. We're yeah. There's some interesting developments going on.
Yeah, and you will get people. I had a seller that I talked to over there near the East Coast. Wasn't Florida. I forget where it was. But anyway, he's like, "Are you guys with Ron LeGrand? Because it seems like every time he has a seminar, like, I start getting blasted with calls on my Craigslist ads."
Uh-huh.
I was like, "No, we're not. I'm not with Grant. I'm sorry, with Ron. But this is what we do, and this is how
You
it
know,
works."
I think that what you just said reminded me. I think that's a really good point for all of your bird dogs, Ivan. You should require that they read 10 times, um, or if
Ten
you have an
times.
audio version of that.
I
You know
don't
what I
know what
mean?
that is. If you're referring to the 10x rule, that's
10x rule.
okay.
That's what I meant. What did I say?
If you want them to read 10 times, 10 times what?
Well,
Read.
just
You
read
know
10
what?
times. They just
Yes,
need to read
re,
anything. The
read
Bible.
ten
I
times
don't know.
as read 10 times as much as you're reading now. I can tell you that.
Yes, but no, but read that thing because I think that if we can get a group, if we can create a group, a team that we all work together, we all think alike, we all believe in the same things, we're all giving everything we got, man, we're going to go far. You know what I mean? Like nothing is going to stop us. This is the whole idea of us running up the hill backwards, bringing everybody with us. I think that we've got to also inspire them and other things that what inspires us, let's give that to them. And sometimes people don't know what's good for them. So you may have to require it. Look, if you want a bird dog for us and get free money, that's fine. But you got to read this book too, because we want to make sure that if we're going to put time into you, that you're willing to put time into you as well.
Well, that should just be something that they do, that people do. I shouldn't. I'm not going to require them to do something like that in order for them to talk to me, but I will encourage them to go out and get books like that, like the 10x rule, and the psychology of selling, and different things, so that you
Force your
that you
dreams into
hone your
reality.
so that you hone your skills. Yes, force your dreams into reality. Uh,
By all
that's
those
just
great
something
authors, I'm with you.
that's just something that you should be doing on a regular basis anyway. And if you want to get to where you want to go, that's something that you do. Leaders are readers, and that's the bottom line. And
Absolutely.
and
And
I'll
and
confess, I mean, I'm not the fastest reader, and it takes me a long time to get through material, but I'm committed to getting through the material and learning more every day. And successful people look at a book, even if it's a crappy book, but they read it and it ends up being a crappy book, they'll find something in there, and they'll say, okay, well, there's got to be $1 million idea in there somewhere. Okay, here's this $15, $30 book. Where's my $1 million idea? And that's how successful people look at when they read a book. They're wanting to glean something out of it that's going to get them to the next level in whatever it is that they're doing.
and that means you guys should go to forceyourdreams.com and download my ebook right now for free. In fact, I'll even help you guys right now. That's force FORCEYOURDREAMS.com, and you can send to all. You can download that book for free. Um, Besides
Yeah,
that,
and
guys,
don't
I
don't
feel
ask
like
Pete to spell on the fly, by the way.
did I spell that wrong? Probably.
No, I just said don't ask Pete to spell on the fly. At least it's your book, so you know how to spell that.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, and I repeat it all the time. I've got all of
I,
our links memorized in my head.
all right, how do you spell Mississippi?
MISSISSI, crooked letter I. No, dang it, humpback. Never mind. Um,
Anyway, so any more questions?
yeah, guys, we're going to go ahead and wind this down now. If you guys have any questions, please write them down, send them to me right now so we can answer them. Otherwise, we will see you in 2 weeks. Now, next week, we have Ivan's got his Flip It or Hold It that's going to be on Thursday. The reason we didn't do Thursday this week is because we're going to be at a thought leadership conference in Kansas City. This Sunday, though, we do have Journey to Success every Sunday night at 6 p.m. All you have to do is go to c2creia.com/webinars, and you can register for all of our webinars that are coming up. Period. So with that, no more questions. So guys, thank you so much. Ivan, thank you so much for being on today with me. I had a great time. Did you have fun? Yeah, nobody cares.
Thanks for having me.
We just
Absolutely.
we just care if I had fun, and I did have fun, so that's good. Big
Good.
thumbs
Good.
up. And what's one thing you'd like to say and leave them with, Ivan?
Well, you go ahead and have fun. I'll focus on making us money. How about that?
That is a fantastic idea. That is the best idea you've ever had, my friend. And guys, just in case you guys didn't know, what I want to do real quick is show you guys. Where is my? Wait, where is not the webinars? 10-minute task. Got all these here. I'll just go here to the. What was I going to show them right now? I was going to show them the. Oh my gosh, where was I going to go? C2creia.com. Probably there somewhere. Oh no, LinkedIn. I wanted to show you guys how if you guys want to really be successful, then you need to put the your let's see, go into profile, and you can add to your profile skills, and you should definitely add the skill of being awesome. See that? Being awesome and make something happen. If you guys put being awesome and making something happen on yours, I will go on and I will endorse you for all of those things. I want to start getting us to start doing things that are great. Start doing things that make people smile, that make people laugh. Start doing things that empower us, right? And I think being awesome, that's definitely something that's empowering. So with that, I appreciate everybody. Ivan, I
uh,
appreciate you. And I hope you guys have a
appreciate
wonderful
everybody.
week. What's that?
All right, guys. Yeah, and I appreciate you. I'll see you at the airport tomorrow.
Okay. Guys, as always, you guys put the Y in our success. Have a great day.